with comedian David Boyle, and I'm quitting alcohol. So I got so caught up yesterday in my little fucking, would we call it a rant? It was rant adjacent. It wasn't a full rant, but it was close. And I got so caught up in it that I didn't even go into the demographic details of Spain, which I wanted to get into. And because you all fucking froth demographics so much, we're going to go day 3 of demographics. And then I am going straight back to sport for that fucking dodgy welder cunt out there in fucking California. Anyway, I've been looking into Spain because it's one of the great countries. Every part of it is fucking beautiful. The lifestyle's great. The food is amazing. The people are pretty good looking. I'm going to be there in 4 days. So I like to know a little bit about it. So I was looking into Spain's demographic issue because I didn't know it was so fucking dire. They're one of the worst in Europe. So as we've all learnt recently, replacement level, if you want to keep a population stable, the replacement level is 2.1. We all know that, don't we? I've said it enough times. Let's repeat it. Replacement level is 2.1. Children per woman. Children fucking per chick. So we've got the 2.1. Spain's fertility rate is 1.12. I'll repeat that. 1.12. In other words, catastrophic fertility rates. And there are some variations, some fucking conflicting data on the exact level. It's between 1.12 and 1.2, but I've taken the World Bank data because they are the ones running the shit. So 1.12 is dire, absolutely fucking dire, but it doesn't but you don't get to 1.12 immediately. You get down to 1.12. So this has been happening for a long time. I went back and I looked, when was the first time Spain's population dipped under replacement level? And it was back in 1981. So for almost 45 years, the Spaniards have not been having enough children to replace themselves. Then I looked at the immigration data. So no one notices when you dip under 2.1. No one gives a fuck. It doesn't even register. It's not a blip on anyone's radar because everyone's still young, everyone's still healthy, no one gives a fuck. So in Spain, 1981, immigrants made up 1.6% of the population, and immigration didn't even pick up in Spain until the late 90s, a good 18 years into the population decline. So it wasn't like, we need to flood Spain with immigrants. It's like 18 years of decaying population, going from 1.6% of the population in the early 80s to 12% in 2009. 2009 is 29 years of population decline. Or 28, if you want to be fucking exact. So the immigration increase didn't start when the population was fucking and having kids. Can we agree on that? That's what the data says. Even 18 years into population decline, immigrants still only made up 1.6% of the population. It wasn't an issue. Not an issue at all in the 90s. Then we hit the 2000s, mid-2000s, and things start accelerating until now, 2026, 20.3% of the population of Spain is immigrant. And those numbers aren't really reflective of what's going on there, because during that period from around 2009 to now, immigrants are having kids. Those kids are Spanish because they're born in Spain. So the data gets muddy and it doesn't reflect what's actually going on. So there has been population increase in Spain, and it is 100% due to immigration. The Spanish population is dying off rapidly, but the immigrants that have moved there are having Spanish children, if you understand what I mean. So it does get a little bit muddy. And then I was like, all right, let's say there was no immigration at all. And let's remember, I just want you to remember this. Even 18 years into population decline in Spain, the immigrant population was only 1.6. So it wasn't until the decline of the population accelerated that you get accelerating immigration. And a lot of people think the immigration is to bring in workers, young workers, to do the jobs. But a lot of it is to bring in workers to look after old cunts. Old cunts that didn't have kids. Someone has to look after old cunts that didn't have kids. Old rich cunts need to be looked after if they didn't have kids. There's only so much nieces and nephews can do. Eventually, you have to get a Peruvian or a Venezuelan or a Filipino or someone else, third world, in dire straits to come over and look after your old cunt population. Because if you are a youngster and your parents have 4 or 5 fucking brothers and sisters each, and only 2 or 3 of them had kids, that is a lot of adults for those kids to look after, and they don't because the family has been destroyed. So I looked at it. I'm like, all right, at a fertility rate of 1.12, how long would it take for a population to go extinct? And it doesn't really go extinct because it can pretty much halve forever. And external factors take care of that way before fertility does. If you have a shrinking population and you're next door to a growing population, that growing population needs more room. So they just come into your town and take it. That's what happens. They just walk over the border and all you have is a few old cunts laying around, not really going to be able to put up much of a fight. So it doesn't actually halve until there's like an atom left. So anyway, but roughly, so at 1.12, in 31 years, you've halved the population. 31 years to halve a population. That's going from like Australia, 24 million to 12. Just think about that. Just think about the consequences of something like that happening. You're talking the rural areas are decimated. There's not enough population to justify the rural areas. You're talking about the cities are condensed, but also your football teams are closing down because there's not enough population to keep them going. Property prices decimated. Like some of this is good. Like some of this is good. There's more space. But It's not quite what you think it's going to be like. It's like 60% of people will be over the age of like fucking 55, 60, and the young people are supporting them in some way. Extra taxes. It would have to go full communist. It gets messy. So 31 years, you've halved the population. 62 years, there's only 25% of the original population left. So when I was, I think when I was born, I think the Australian population was like 19 million. Hold on, let me check. Wow, way off. So I was born in 1984. 15.64 million people. Jesus Christ. Hold on a second. What was the percentage of immigrants in Australia back then? And what's the percentage now? The population now is 28 million. Actually, that's kind of irrelevant. Australia's a colony, so everyone's pretty much an immigrant, but you know what I mean. We've always had to have high immigration to populate the joint. Okay, so 1984, it was about 21 to 22% overseas born. Now it's about 32%. So there's always been an immigration problem in Australia, especially for the Aboriginal people. So anyway, getting back to my original point, 25%. After 61 years, 25% of that original population is left when fertility rate is 1.12. So when I was born, the population was 15.64. If we had no immigration at all and fertility was 1.12, in 20 years, when I'm 61, the 61 years, there'll be 25% of 15 million left, which is, it's about 3.75. 3.75 million with zero immigration and a catastrophic fertility rate. Are you sort of visualizing what happens? So the entire Australia becomes the size of Melbourne in 60 years. Like, demographics is fucking bleak. And we're right in the middle of it. We're in the middle of it now. The world 30 years from now looks nothing like the world we were born in. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Technologically, demographically, the sky will probably be purple. We'll be able to fucking morph. I don't know. But it doesn't look like it looks now. It's wild. Once you start asking the right questions demographically, shit starts getting wild. And there's always been demographic problems all throughout history. Like, go way back. India invented the Kama Sutra because their population was dying. They weren't reproducing. So they came up with porn. Try these moves. We need you to try them. So that concludes the demographic story for this week. Tomorrow's Fucked Up Friday, so I'll give you a breather. But fucking chew on that for a little while. I hope you all find it as interesting as I do. Anyway, that'll do it for today, and I'll see you the fuck later.